Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
A very good Friday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage, live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, a clear choice for Edmonton Sports, presented by Play Alberta. Thank you to everyone for listening across the Edmonton Sports Talk audio streams at edmontonsportstalk.com. Tune in, iHeartRadio, Apple Music for those watching on YouTube, as well as listening to this on a podcast. Matt Iwanyk with you here. It is not draft day anymore here on the Hangout or at Edmonton Sports Talk because Stan Bowman hates drafts, apparently. He goes and makes a trade, which includes draft picks. He just outright hates drafts. So instead, we're switching into just full coverage of the Edmonton Oilers, acquiring Tristan Jarry, acquiring Spencer Stastney in separate deals with Pittsburgh and with Nashville. So with me today, I'm with this TV, got to fix this here, Benny Thomson, who was supposed to be part of the Hangout in his first draft ever. He's going to be here to talk about this. And then Reid Wilkins, I drove him in. He was my car mate today. Keeping me company on the drive along with listening to the Morning Boys. Reid Wilkins on the Hangout today. We'll see if anyone else pops in if they want to today, but at the very least, it's Reid, Benny, Matt with you here on the Hangout. Your thoughts always welcome, 780-218-9999, or you can jump in to the Nasty Chat. Once again, the Hangout. Brought to you by Sentinel Storage, Canada's storage experts, more than 2 decades, helping Canadians through life transition. Canadian storage provider. Find your convenient location nearest you at sentinel.ca. It's just an easy start to this one. Benny, will go to you, and we'll get to Reid. And just your thoughts on this move by the Edmonton Oilers, who, after a victory last night against the Detroit Red Wings, they decide to go make a move with their goaltending and defense.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can go through it, and I'm sure we have 2 hours to do it. But I question the timing a little bit with this deal. You know what I mean? Like, if this was a move that happened after that Colorado loss, or maybe even the Dallas loss, I would have understood it a little bit more. But to me, they've won some games now. It seems like their plays kind of turn around a little bit at least. And then they make the move. Now it's kind of interesting to me. And then the move itself, I think it's too much. Like, you gave up a second, a third, Kulak and Skinner for a goalie who was on waivers a year ago. Now he has somewhat figured it out since. And a young defenseman who isn't Brett Kulak yet. Like, as much as some people are getting excited about Stastney, he's not Brett Kulak yet. We've seen Brett Kulak in the playoffs. He's a very, very solid defenseman for the Oilers when he was here, and so that's a downgrade there. Jarry probably has a higher upside than Stu, but I don't love the move. I think they gave up too much for him, but who knows? It could be a big swing, and it could have landed. It could have been the guy that gets his team a cup, but I don't love the move as of right now.
Oilers have just announced a small move recalled from Bakersfield, Riley Stillman, defenseman. So that they just announced as well. Reid, just trade happened, about an hour ago now? After letting it digest for 50 to 60 minutes. Just your thoughts on this move?
Well, I think they're taking a fairly significant chance on Tristan Jarry. Now, obviously, Stan Bowman and the management, and probably maybe the coaches, and maybe even some of the players, though they wouldn't have the say in it, and they wouldn't say it publicly, probably thought they would be taking a significant chance keeping Stuart, Skinner in net.
Yeah.
for the rest of the season. They're trying to win the Stanley Cup. They're trying to do it in the next 3 seasons while McDavid is here.
Yeah.
Does this increase their chances of doing that? To me, that is the key question.
Yeah.
That is the question I would like to hear our audience answer. And I'm not going to pick at your answers. Well, I might if you say something incredibly stupid.
Here, what was the question again?
Do you think this trade increases the Oilers' chances of winning the Stanley Cup in 26, 27, or 28 while we assume Connor McDavid is going to be here? That's really what this boils down to. Are they now closer to a Stanley Cup than they were after the game last night? Does this increase the odds? I suppose if you want to look at that from a positive side, you would say Tristan Jarry's higher end is likely higher than Stuart Skinner's. Okay? That's probably the positives. And I'm leaving out the defenseman right now. Mm-hmm. But I mean, so much of the talk has been goaltending, lateral movement, consistency, all that kind of stuff. So even if you believe Tristan Jarry is 0.001% better of a goalie than Stuart Skinner, then you also must believe this makes the Oilers more likely to win a Stanley Cup this year, next year, or the year after. You have to believe that. I hate to tell people what to believe, but if you actually believe Stuart Skinner is even slightly better, or that Tristan Jarry is slightly better than Stuart Skinner, then I would think you would believe that the Oilers are closer to the Stanley Cup. That's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
The other way to look at it is this is a goaltender who's been on waivers quite recently that the Pittsburgh Penguins were willing to lose for free.
Yep.
Remember that. Okay? That they basically had given up on, or they were willing to risk just losing him for nothing. Who has had very, very difficult parts of his career as well. And if we're talking about the postseason, has less than 20% of Stuart Skinner's playoff experience. Now, I hear everybody who's going to say, but Reid, Skinner's the reason the Oilers didn't win the Stanley Cup. Okay, I'm not going to have that argument with you right now. Stuart Skinner has played 50 playoff games. Tristan Jarry has played 8.
Yeah.
A lot of inexperience.
He got thrown into Game 7 against the Rangers in 2022 and lost Game 7 in overtime.
Yeah.
He played most of a series against the Islanders in 2021, and I believe had a couple really poor games and had a couple okay games. And then he had a playoff game against the Canadiens back in 2020. So I think these two sides of the argument, in my mind, are quite even. I still think the Oilers have a question in net. Mm-hmm. Calvin Pickard is a great story and had an excellent record in the playoffs last season. Statistically, this year, unfortunately, you could argue he's the worst goaltender in the National Hockey League.
Yeah.
Based on save percentage amongst goaltenders who have played enough games to qualify for the stat. Actually, I have to double check that if he's still last. He was a couple days ago. He's 59th out of 59 goalies, tied with a Noonan from Nashville. So maybe there's another move coming to beef up the second goaltender as well. So this is I can't sit here right now and say this is a massive upgrade in net. Jarry's having a better season than Skinner. He has better career numbers. I think if you looked at the last 2 years, though, despite Skinner's flaws and struggles at times, I still think he's been the better goalie the last 2 years, and he certainly has a heck of a lot more playoff experience. So they're hoping, okay, if we defend better, like they did last night, we'll have some games where our goalie isn't under stress. And I guess Bowman is saying, well, I believe Jarry is more likely to steal a game or two in the postseason along the way, like outright steal games when we need a big performance. Again, maybe there's more moves coming. Maybe there's going to be another goaltender. We always talk about trades. Everybody wants trades to happen, and then the trade happens, and it's always like, well, that's it. I mean, look.
I don't think you can say that's it for today. This is a pretty
significant. Well, no, but
not saying you, but something like no one can sit there.
Here's where I was going with this.
Moves.
Here's where I was going with this, everybody. Like, if you're upset about the trade, if you wanted Stuart Skinner off the team, and you're also upset about the trade, what did you expect?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you were not trading Kulak and Skinner for Hellebuck or Vasilevsky or Bobrovsky or Shesterkin or Sorokin or Jesper Wallstedt, who I believe is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend. First goaltender to be inducted as a rookie. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's I think on paper, it's a lateral move, a risk that could pay off big time if Jarry performs at or near his high end.
Yeah, well, and just to your question, I've texted Trev. Hopefully he sees my text soon and can throw it up there on the live chat. Just throw up a poll. But
you did.
Did he get it up there?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Then I have to refresh. I'll let you give the percent right away here then.
Okay.
But are the Oilers, does this give them a better chance at winning the Cup? Or I can't remember what did I text Trev here? Or what does he have?
The question is, does this trade increase the chances of the Oilers winning the Stanley Cup in the next 3 years?
And just from the chat, yes, but marginally. But then there's the flip. While Stuart's gone, odds go up. And then there's, if you know, it doesn't increase their chances. I don't think it decreases, but I don't know how about improving it. So I would say right now from just the chat, it was more yeses, but with a mix, what is the percentage?
The percentage is no. No is in favor, 55%.
So it doesn't increase their chances.
No.
There's a lot of people that also say that the thing that they're sad about is losing playoff Brett Kulak.
No, that's the other part of this.
That's the
I
big
was
thing for
focusing
me.
solely on the goalie part of this.
That's
the one
biggest
thing I
for
will
me.
say about that, though, is there is a point where sometimes as a GM, you have to figure out, when is this player now going to start declining? Mm-hmm. And when could we maybe get some value for this player and not have to deal with the diminishing return where then we're not going to get value.
He's
for this
on an
player
expiring
after.
deal as well.
And so it's, okay, throw him in this deal. You bring in Stastney. You think you said it when you were talking earlier that you don't think he's ready to be Kulak, but that's where you're hoping, okay, we've traded at a high for Kulak and we're getting Stastney on his increase as he's coming up.
Yeah.
We're doing it at a perfect time where all of a sudden, playoff Kulak is gone, but Stastney will replace him. You know, there was a point where, and now different players, different statures, but there was a point where you just had to give Evan Bouchard the chance to run the power play.
Yeah.
You moved on from Tyson Barrie. Sometimes you just need to give that shot there. Maybe they're saying Stastney's a guy that, okay, in the next 3 years, as we're talking about with Jarry, he's going to become playoff Kulak type thing.
Yeah.
And in the end, you should be able to replace a player like Brett Kulak. Like, that's not one that should be so hard to replace. That I get why there would be the losing what that experience and what that guy did in the playoffs hurts, but you should be able to replace that in my mind.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it this year. Like, to me, I don't understand how Tristan Jarry doesn't have any salary cap retained, and I understand Pittsburgh didn't want to do it, and that's what held up this trade and that's what had been reported was Pittsburgh has always been looking to deal Jarry. Just they don't want to retain any money.
Oilers want a retention.
Yes.
Penguins were not a chance.
Didn't want to do it. So,
and the Oilers were the team that ultimately buckled.
Yes.
Which is an interesting one because of the play recently of Stuart Skinner.
Yeah.
Like, you might sit there and go, well, we don't need to do this. But then the other side is maybe you're going, we've got his value up high right now.
Yeah, maybe.
But I think then that you should be able to try to get some salary retained or some sort.
That's I didn't expect. It's just, to me, the timing's weird. The timing is weird. Maybe
When's
they
the
wanted
roster freeze?
They wanted the deal before the road trip, maybe. But just to me, it's I don't know how you come away from this homestand and you go Stuart Skinner. And I understand the track history, and of course, like people want Skinner gone. I was only in favor of Skinner gone if there was a sizable upgrade. If there was a goalie coming to Edmonton that was a 100% upgrade over Stuart Skinner. I can't say Tristan Jarry is a 100% upgrade over Stuart Skinner. He probably is, but he's had a rocky road the past couple of years, and he was on waivers a year ago. The Oilers could have got him for free, but I guess you got to pay a price now when you're desperate. But
See, and that's what I don't like is that.
Like how desperate does you have to be? Though?
I was okay with this team allowing this season to almost play out.
Yeah.
If it meant next summer you didn't have to be desperate. Like you're not as desperate in the sense of, well, you're up against the cap or something. If you have more cap space, maybe you're a little less desperate at that point, even though every team knows that they're going to need a goalie next summer. That maybe you could do something a little different. Like I see Aidan O'Neill saying, why are you giving up a second if there's no salary retained in the end? Like, couldn't you do Skinner and Kulak straight up for Jarry type thing?
That's my thing too. Yeah, like because I guarantee you, Pittsburgh, if they are missing the playoffs by the deadline, they're going to flip Kulak for a solid asset. I'd imagine Brett Kulak will probably cost maybe a second round pick at the deadline. So they might be getting 2 second round picks and Skinner basically for Jarry. Like to me, I think they look at Kulak as a flippable asset at the deadline if they're not sitting in a playoff spot. Because he's the expiring deal, and I think it was Elliot that was talking last week saying that as much as you know he's a 5th defenseman in Edmonton, teams view Brett Kulak very highly. They've seen what he does in the playoffs here in Edmonton, and we've seen it firsthand. Like he has the nickname Playoff Kulak for a reason. Like he shows up. He's your typical lunch pail, hard hat defenseman that plays well when the moment's at its biggest. So, to me, I think Pittsburgh's looking at this going, okay, well, we just traded. Hi, Dusty. We just traded a goalie that was on waivers that we were gonna lose for free. So we just got 2 second round. We just got a pick, Kulak, and now Skinner. They're laughing right now.
There's a couple people saying like they couldn't take him for free. They had no cap space. Stop saying that about the waiver thing. But it's not the idea of teams could have just. This team was the Penguins were willing to give him up for free.
Yes.
That's just it's that idea that this was an organization. When you hear he was just on waivers, it's the idea that Pittsburgh was, if a team had the space and wanted to take that shot, or afterwards would be willing to, like at that time. When Jarry cleared waivers, if a team came calling, there was probably a likely deal where you could have got him for retained or something. It's just a sign that the Penguins were ready to move on. That's why it comes back to you gave all these assets. That's the reasoning of the waivers thing. Not the Oilers should just grab them off of waivers in the middle of the season. No. It's the idea that the Penguins were just ready to walk away from him if somebody was willing to do it. Dustin Nielsen joins us.
Just a couple of quick things. Great conversation. Trev said he's going to probably pop by a little bit later on.
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, like this deal, the more I think about it, management must feel the same way fans feel about this team right now to pull the trigger on this deal, right? Like they've got to be like, you know, didn't Jeff Jackson talk with Gino Reda like 3 days ago at the GM meetings? Was like, oh, we're not going to push anything. Like to me, if you're going to pull the trigger on this deal and pay the price that you paid, you have to be panicking almost as much as the fan base is.
Yeah.
To pull the trigger on this. Or why would you not be like, you know, let's wait. Who else is getting Tristan Jarry? You're telling me Tristan Jarry's not going to be available at the deadline if you want it? Like, to me, the fact that they're going and getting him right now is that the sense of urgency or concern with the way that they've been playing around the team is probably just as much as the fan base right now.
It also does feel that it's like, it's not just management, it's players too. They just don't have that confidence as much. Because
that's the other thing.
The story we got was that the Oilers were ready to move on from Pickard, and they fought for him.
Yeah.
They didn't fight for Skinner in a way.
Yeah, I guess there's that point too. There's that way to look at it.
Yeah.
Because he was playing well.
Yeah.
He'd been playing well recently.
So the panic got set in, during the Colorado game, do you think?
Maybe that Dallas game.
The Dallas game
I think the
was the
Dallas
final-
game probably
final
sort
nail in
of
the
fast
coffin?
forwarded things to the point where they're
Yep.
like,
Fans
okay, even
was
if
game
Pittsburgh's
one,
not,
I think.
even
Yeah.
if Pittsburgh's not going to retain, we might have to make a move here. Like, but to me, for them to do this right now, they're feeling like the fan base is feeling in that, man, like we don't have it right now.
Yeah.
We have to go out and pull the trigger on something. So to move Kulak as well, I mean, in order to get this done financially, I guess it had to happen. And we'll see who this other guy is, Stastney on the back end, and if he can provide decent third line minutes. But now you're going to be pairing a guy who has very little NHL experience with two other guys on the right side who also don't have a ton of NHL experience, which isn't ideal for a third pair in the playoffs. The other thing is that this is it. I think Reid's question about, does this increase your chances of winning a Stanley Cup in McDavid's contract? And that's what it's all about. Like the Oilers, Stan Bowman and Jeff Jackson have now said that Tristan Jarry is the goalie that will win a Stanley Cup, or maybe Connor McDavid leaves after. And that's a bold move to make for a guy who's been up and down and like even what he's done this year is a very small sample size after he sucked for pretty much all of last year. So and you can't get out of this, right? Like this is your guy. He makes over $5 million for the next 2 years. You're not going to be going out and adding another number one in the offseason. They've decided that Tristan Jarry is their number one goalie for the rest of Connor McDavid's contract. And they paid a pretty price to get it done. And to me, that just shows how desperate they were to make a change with this group right now. That's bold. It's bold, man. I can see why so many people are frustrated because of the price that you had to pay to get this thing done. And Pittsburgh, I know people are saying in Pittsburgh chats were also like, I hate this deal. But Pittsburgh now gets rid of Jarry, doesn't have to retain anything, can probably trade Kulak at the deadline. If Skinner does really well for them, they'll probably be able to sign him at a reasonable rate, but they've got two other goalies anyway. Like they were stuck with Tristan Jarry.
That's my thing.
And they did okay in the return coming back.
Here's what Josh Yohe wrote. He covers the Penguins for The Athletic. He says I apologize if you already read this on your show. I don't know if you did or not.
No, I didn't get to him.
It's long been known that Edmonton was interested in Jarry. I'm surprised the deal came to fruition this quickly. Given Jarry's postseason history and tendency to fade in the second half, I'm surprised Edmonton isolated on him to be their guy, but we shall see. He does have talent. So that's from Yohe, who covers the Penguins. He's been doing it for a long time. So that's a quick take from him.
So he's a good goalie, but he has some flaws. He's had some flaws in Pittsburgh, basically, is what he's saying.
It was the second half of the season where it's when things pick up.
His high end is likely higher than Skinner's.
Yeah.
Will he achieve the high end? I think, Dustin, you said they could have got Jarry at the deadline. Sure. But, this gives Bowman and Jackson, and yes, everybody, I know a lot of you don't like them, okay? They're going to use their names because they're running the team. Settle down. It gives them time. It's what, 3 months until the deadline? Hard to believe.
I can't believe
3
it.
months, yeah.
But so this gives them time now to further evaluate the roster.
I was going to say the rest of the team,
And then
right?
the rest of the team and the needs on defense. Yeah. Now, if Jarry comes in and absolutely stinks, then they're really under
then you're in trouble.
a lot of pressure. So, I think this is still time for them to try to make another move. The dream move at the deadline is a Barry for Ekholm style move. I don't know if that's going to be out there this year, if they still need somebody on defense. I think another question, I'm going to throw out a lot of questions for people today, because I kind of want to boil it down to some key things here, like the question about, are they closer to winning the Stanley Cup? I guess my other question would be, does this make does skating out onto the ice for the game behind Tristan Jarry, does this make the team play with their chests puffed out a little more? Okay,
that should be determined, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Then that would have been the impact of a guy like Binnington. And yes, I know his numbers suck in
You're
St.
saying
Louis this
Binnington
year.
would have been that.
But
That would have been like
that. Binnington has that swagger to him. Did they skate out behind Stu feeling like, okay, we got Stu. Like at least we got Stu. Even if it's an off night, we still might pull it out because he's going to battle. Like Mike Smith made them feel that way. Like Mike Smith let in some funky goals. He's he was the best goalie in the McDavid-Draisaitl era, quite frankly.
Yep.
I love Talbot, but
I was going to say Talbot would
he dropped
make a
off.
case for that, but yeah.
Koskinen
that
was
1 year
either-
was
Koskinen was either up here or down here. Skinner obviously had some good games, and Mike Smith had that swagger, and I do think it's important if that comes from a goalie. When that comes from a goalie, look at Binnington in the Four Nations face-off. All people remember is the 3 saves on Matthews in overtime.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And then he stands up and he's got that FU look on his face.
Yeah.
Even the mouthing off with Perry last year.
Yeah.
Even though the Oilers beat the Blues, with those games he scored. That's Binnington. Does Jarry make the team? I'm not saying Jarry's like that, but does he make the team feel a little bit more like, okay, we got a steady guy back there?
Or do they just have that confidence knowing that, okay,
That's
we
not-
make a mistake, it's not going to back in net? Because I would make an argument that last year they were a team that did that for Calvin Pickard. That no matter how Calvin Pickard was playing, it seemed they played better as a defensive group. Just overall, their game in front of Calvin Pickard last year was better than it was in front of Stuart Skinner. And so does it give them that confidence, just that little bit like, okay, we're not going to, we make that mistake, Jarry, he hasn't burned us yet. So he'll make that stop, and they think a little less when they play.
The other thing, I think what fans are, and Reid, you make a great point, and I think that's a great question of will the team feel differently going out there with Tristan Jarry? I think the problem that fans might have with this trade right now is that the question you just asked, we don't know, right? They would have wanted a goalie where even if it's UC Saros and he hasn't played well, whatever, they wanted a goalie where you go, oh yeah. The entire team's like, oh yeah, that's our guy. He's going to lock it down. Tristan Jarry doesn't come in with that rep.
Yep.
And I think that's probably why, and justifiably so, fans would be, a little bit frustrated in the situation. But we had a great text on our show this morning of DVD. It was
I loved it.
Stan Bowman did the impossible. He traded Stuart Skinner and pissed the city off, which is just unbelievable. I said it before. I'll let you guys. I'll slide out. But to me, it is at minimum a slight upgrade. I haven't watched a ton of Tristan Jarry, but I know Tristan Jarry moves around his crease better than Stuart Skinner moves around his crease. So to me, it's at minimum a slight upgrade in net, but I partially feel like they did the Penguins a favor and paid too big a price to have to get this done, which goes back around to the fact that management's sitting there going, something has to happen. We have to do something, which so many times the fan base is freaking out, or we're freaking out on shows, and management be like, no, we're going to take our time. They are obviously feeling like a move has to be made to get this team back on track.
Yep.
And obviously, Stuart Skinner's not their guy.
The Penguins were also the team that made the deal with the Blues to give them back their draft pick so the Blues could offer sheet. Holloway and Broberg.
And they play on Tuesday, which is
That's
awesome.
the crazy thing. It's going to be
awesome.
And does Jarry play tomorrow against the
Leafs?
The Leafs? Do you throw him in there?
It's back-to-back. You could go Pickard and then play Jarry against the Habs.
He's going to play one of them. Do you put him in right away?
To get him against
you just anointed him your number one goaltender for the next 2.5 years.
I think you got to put him in tomorrow.
Put the pressure on with Hockey Night in Canada, 5 o'clock against the Leafs right off the bat.
Well,
I would also say I'd offensively put him in against the Leafs as opposed to the Habs.
Yeah.
The Leafs are banged up right now. If you can get him there, then and he'll get him in there.
Oh yeah, but the whole Canada's all watching, and then he lets in 2 first period goals or
Well,
something.
people are already tweeting the goal Caulfield scored from behind the net.
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, those will go over well here.
Yeah.
All the bad goals he's let in will be all over Twitter today.
Yeah,
that's all
Tristan, this isn't the Oil Kings anymore, my man.
Yeah.
At least he won a championship in Edmonton.
he did.
That's what somebody pointed out. Thank you,
Good
Dusty.
show, boys. Thanks, Dusty.
I guess just quick. So I should pull up the trades. I haven't actually just said outright what the trades are today. For those that are just tuning in, the Edmonton Oilers, they've acquired goalie Tristan Jarry as well as forward Samuel Poulin from the Penguins in exchange for Stuart Skinner, Brett Kulak, and a second-round pick in 2029. So it's not going to be for a while for that second-round pick. 2029. When's McDavid's contract right now?
This year,
It's 2 years
and 2 years
after
after
this
this one.
Yeah.
So is that the year? Is that flip like that kind of, holding on to the picks during the McDavid time? The Oilers have also acquired defenseman Spencer Stastney from the Nashville Predators in exchange for a third-round pick in the 2027 draft. Stastney has dressed in 81 games over 4 seasons with the Preds, including 30 this season. Left shot defenseman, while Poulin 64 goals, 71 assists in just over 200 games for the past 5 seasons in the American Hockey League. Yeah. For Pittsburgh. He's also dressed in 15 games for the Penguins, including a pair of games back in November. He was a first-round pick in 2019. What are you going to say, Reid?
Well, I think this is a really good point by Brian in the nasty chat. How often did Skinner let in 3 goals on 12 shots? I mean, you think he's using those stats as an example. Lets in a bad goal after Oilers get all the momentum, often can't get the big save. I think that's a good point, and that's sort of the nature of goaltending. It's not perfection. Yeah. It's not. I mean, you can pick apart any goal, and as people who listen to me, I often say I'm not going to pick apart every goal. I'm going to let's look at the bot. Yes, some goals are obviously bad. Yeah. But how did the night go? Did he stem the tide? When did he make the save? And I think that was the thing for Skinner, is that if the Oilers were under pressure or were just playing okay, did he keep them in the game? Or did what should have been a 1 or 2 goal against period turn into a 4 goal against period, and then the game's over, and then you're playing catch up. Now the odd thing was Skinner looked better lately, and then the team has looked better. So maybe that's another thing they're looking at, where they're saying, well, okay, Jarry might have his flaws. Maybe by the end of the year, his save percentage is okay. But we think he's going to make the big save at the right time.
Yep,
we think if we have a bad first period, we're down 1-0 instead of 3-0, because he's going to come up with those big stops. Or he can move across better to stop a 2-on-1 if we screw up defensively or things like that.
Or in a game where it's 6-5, instead of losing 6-5, they win 6-5 because he makes the save when it just matters.
Yeah, or
right?
Whatever.
It's that type of situation.
Yep. Yeah, that's fair. And that's a very good point, and that's something we don't know, right? We'll have to see, and that's what Dusty was talking about. Just with I think what's pissing people off is that there is uncertainty with him, right? This was can we agree that this was a desperation move? This wasn't a trade they saw that was it's just makes sense, and even if the team was doing well, they make this trade. This was obviously a move because they were not happy with their goaltending.
Yeah, but the reason I'm wondering whether we may look at it as a desperation trade, but I don't know if the Oilers did, because I feel like they could have waited. I feel like one of the reasons maybe that they go after Tristan Jarry is they probably sit there and think about who can we go target in the summer, both via trade or via free agency.
There wasn't a whole lot, and
probably went. There's not a lot of other options. There's no home run option that's coming then. And when you look at that, maybe you sit there and be like, okay, well, there's Tristan Jarry, there's goalie B, there's goalie C we're looking at that we realistically have a shot at, again, via trade or via free agency. And they're sitting there, if Tristan Jarry is one of these 3 guys, let's just get it done. To Reid's point, which is to give him the runway ahead of this deadline. And also, to my point where I said I would rather make that move in the summer, maybe this is also just one of those, let's give this team the year with Tristan Jarry so that it's not just about the trade deadline, but it's also for agency.
Yeah.
We'll have a good sample size of Tristan Jarry as an Oiler and then can go from there. That I wonder, I actually do wonder whether, fans and media, we might sit there and be like, this looks desperate. But I wonder inside if they think that, or if they're just thinking, no, this is the opportunity to go get a goalie. And we're taking it. And
do I think Oilers management felt desperate?
Yeah.
No, I don't. Because, I know this is hard for everybody to hear, and I don't mean to talk down to anybody, but I want everybody to take a deep breath and understand that the management of hockey teams don't think like you do.
Not most of them.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, and a lot of these trades that happen have been talked about for a long time. I mean, Bowman was asked coming into this season about looking for a goalie in the summer, and he basically said, "Of course, I looked for a goalie in the summer." And then he was asked, "Well, how do you think that affects your players and your goalies?" He said, well, players know that I'm always trying to upgrade the team. I mean, GMs are always on the lookout to make moves. It's just, when they finally pull the trigger, they got to be sure about it because there's no going back. I mean, maybe this trade could have happened on August 15th, but neither side was totally sure about doing it. So I don't think that
this doesn't feel Chiarelli for Petrovic and
the Brandon Manning deal, Drake Caggiula for
like
Brandon Manning.
That one looked very.
Those were bad. Signing Koskinen to a 3-year deal too. Yeah, like that was.
But those trades, I think there was what is this? And there was no rumblings before, and that to me looked like more of, if we want to say a man was desperate, I would have said Chiarelli was desperate there. I don't get that sense either from this move. So, because also, like, if the Oilers had lost last night and they were like a 5-game, then it would feel even more like they're just trying to make a move. But they didn't have to make this move.
Yeah. So that's why I asked, because to me it's like I just. When you make a move like this, you weren't happy with your goaltending.
Yeah.
So then I look at, okay.
Or you're just looking for an improvement.
Yeah. So then I look at, okay, when was it glued into their minds that, okay, we need to upgrade on this.
Yeah, that's something I'm intrigued by.
That's to me is the biggest question I would ask Stan if I was right now. What game was it that was like, okay, we need an upgrade?
Like, I don't.
It's because I assume obviously there's multiple games, of course.
But the talk over the weekend was retention or not. That was the sticking point.
Yeah.
And then Oilers played 2 games since then, really. Yep. And it came down to the Oilers then make this move today. That to me, it feels like, okay, something in these last 2 games went into the Oilers' mind that went, we've got to make this move. Like, let's just get this done and bring him in. Yeah. And I know. Like, I don't agree with this fully, but I know there's some people that look at the overtime goal. Mm-hmm. And while we focus on the Oilers and the 3 guys leaving Tuck in front alone, some would sit there and say, you just need a save.
Yeah.
And he couldn't provide you that save. And I wonder if that's was finally Stan Bowman and Jeff Jackson looking like he doesn't make that save when we need it. Yes, it's not his fault. Yes, there's other issues on this play. Yeah. We could point to the whole play before that shot and go, they messed up.
Yep.
But our goalie couldn't bail us out.
Yep.
We've got to make this move. And I wonder if it was that play. Because I don't know of another goal against the Sabres that I would sit there and even look at and go, like...
We broke it down on posts. Like, it was a tip from Josh Doan in the high slot.
Which,
okay, like, you can't really blame a goalie on a deflection. Goal. Yeah, the between the legs goal, maybe. Like, I think some fans were wanting Stu to push Doan there, maybe throw a poke check out. And then the other one was a Tage Thompson. That was the Boosh gaff. Which, like, I don't know how you're going to blame Stu for. Like, Stu thought...
And was there anything last night?
The one goal he let in was on a 3-on-2, and Edvinson got it in the slot. I didn't. No one brought it up last night as a bad goal to let in.
But that's the only thing for me is I feel like it had to be something in these last few games which finally let them go.
This is it. Like,
we've targeted in on Tristan Jarry.
Yeah, we
will pass on the retention as a sticking point, and we need to just go make this move because I don't know why else then. That's the only question is why then today for this? Why then make this move then for today? What has changed from we want retention to all of a sudden, no, we're good. We can go in and we'll just pay this price.
Yep. If this trade happened the day after the Dallas loss, I would have woke up this morning and been like, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Now, obviously, I still think they were overpaid even at that time. And I said on that post game that they need to shake up. And I said it doesn't necessarily need to be a trade. Doesn't necessarily need to be a coach firing. They need some type of shakeup in that room. Maybe it's a players only meeting or whatever. They just need something to change. Now, this does shake up the room, right? Like I as much as people think that the players don't want to play in front of Stu. I think they liked Stu. I think he was a loved teammate in that room. Obviously Connor's not going to crap on him to the media, but he did defend him to the media. I don't think the players hated Stu Skinner as a goalie, but I think this trade will shake up the room a little bit in a good way. Like, okay, well, like this, our bad play is unacceptable, and moves, and because that happened, a move like this had to happen. And now we're bringing this goalie. Okay, it's a fresh slate. Let's go. So I like it for the sense of the locker room morale and what it does for them going on for the rest of the season. But it's up to them to respond to it. It's completely up to them, and I think their plays turned around as of late. Let's just hope that it continues into the weekend, and I mean they have a back-to-back. Picks will play one. I guess you'll get to see if they made the right choice of keeping Pickard for some fans, but you're going to see Pickard and see Jarry this weekend, and I think it's pretty exciting for Oilers fans, even if you don't like the trade. But a shakeup happened, and I guess if there's a positive, there's that.
A lot of people got their wish today, and they may be upset now. Oh, well, as Reid said, what did you expect? But you got your wish. Stuart Skinner's gone, and now you don't have him to blame anymore. So we'll see how this. And look, maybe he was ultimately the biggest issue, and this changes a lot for the Edmonton Oilers. Maybe there's other issues that need to be dealt with. As I'm thinking about what maybe's changed over the last few days, I do wonder what maybe Reid Wilkins said over the last few days, because he does sit in front of Jeff Jackson and a bit of the Oilers brass at those Oiler games. So maybe Reid said something there in those games, and then they heard it and they went, oh, well, we've got to make this move now. I was only there for one of those games, and I don't think we said anything. So, but yeah, I'm just fascinated by the timing of it. And that's just, well, you likely never really know that answer.
Well, I think,
but it's a fascinating one. What's your take on why today?
Well, I think, I think it's
given
clear.
up within a week of the retention
talk.
Right. Well, I think it's clear that Bowman had decided a while ago that he was going to trade Skinner for a different goalie.
But why
now?
When weekend they want retention, the Penguins don't want to do any retention, to today where the Oilers say, okay, fine, we won't retain. We don't have to retain, we will just pay this price.
Was it because they found the proper defenseman they thought to replace Kulak?
Might be.
Like I think maybe they did their scouting.
Deal.
They did their scouting, and they're like, okay, we like this Stastney kid out of Nashville.
That's an excellent point. Maybe it was they were working with the Penguins on a deal, and the Penguins were like, we're not retaining. Yeah. And the Oilers were like, we'd like you to retain, and it was back and forth. And then finally they're like, okay, well, you want to know something? If we're going to do this, we need to go get a defenseman. Yeah. And then they focused this week on trying to find that defenseman, finally worked it out with Barry Trotz, and then called Dubas and said, yeah, we're going to do this deal. We could do this deal. And maybe that was it. Yep. It had nothing to do with play of this week, and it was just outright. They got the deal done with Stastney and Barry Trotz, and that opened them up to get this deal done. This is the EST Hangout here on Edmonton Sports Talk, a clear choice for Edmonton Sports, presented by Play Alberta. For anyone that was tuning in for maybe draft discussion, that's not happening today. Tuesday next week. We're going to move it to Tuesday, the Christmas draft, unless the Oilers do something else on that Tuesday in advance of the big showdown. Hopefully, maybe, between Skinner and Jarry and the Edmonton Oilers and the Pittsburgh Penguins on Tuesday. I hope both teams
Skinner
go
shut
ahead
out
with that. I don't know if the Penguins... could you imagine?
Oh, that doing the pre and post for that show would be nuts. Skinner
from one way, like if from a chaos perspective, the Oilers lose 4-0.
Oh, and it's
Jarry
a couple
gets
stinkers.
Shelved,
oh no!
And Skinner shuts the door and makes that key save in those key times. Oh my! Your guys' post game show might break Edmonton Sports Talk a little bit.
And everyone's just be losing their mind.
Portions of this hour of the Hangout, they are brought to you by the High Product Marketing, official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk, promotional products that bring the buzz. Check them out, thehighproductmarketing.com. We got Reid Wilkins, Benny Thomson, Matt Iwanyk with you here on the Hangout. 11 o'clock, we do got Lock Shop. We will have Oil Stream today. Dusty and Trev on the Oil Stream. We got EST Afternoons. We got the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. That will take you up until 6 o'clock. Obviously today, a heavy focus now on the moves of the Edmonton Oilers. Lots of discussion now just overall on goaltending and Jarry, but let's just look at the defensive core as a group. Are they better without Kulak right now and bringing in a Stastney? Is this worse?
But I don't know much about this Stastney guy.
Yeah.
So does that not make it a little worse? Because
that's why
there's not a veteran presence that's coming.
He's played 81 total games in the NHL. He's played 30 games this year. For the people that believe in advanced analytics and all that stuff, they're good. So I guess there's that. But he's
Good on a bad team.
Yeah, he's been a solid depth defenseman for Nashville is what the advanced analytics say. I mean, he's got 9 points in 30 games as a depth D-man in Nashville is pretty solid. 5th rounder back in 2018, 25 years old. I mean, like could he turn into Kulak? Maybe. I just, to me, like this is a left-handed Ty Emberson. To me, like is kind of what this is reminding me of, like a younger defenseman who's been kind of in the AHL, NHL. When he's in the NHL, his underlying numbers look pretty good. And Emerson's turned around a little bit this season. I talked about it last night, and I've liked his play quite a bit. But I just, to me, like especially with Jake Wallman being out for a little while now, since he's on LTIR, like does that defense hold up? Because when Nurse has his, games where he's not playing well, and I'm looking at the playoffs specifically, or, if Wallman continues to be nicked up, like Kulak was very valuable to stepping into that top 4 and being a solid, reliable top 4 defenseman when called upon. They lose that guy for a guy that doesn't have a whole lot of NHL experience right now. So I don't know if that's a great. Mic test. We got it back. We're back. We're back.
Okay, so I'll read that again. Mark Spector with Sportsnet posted that he got a quote from a scout on Spencer Stastney, 25 years of age. Great skater, fluid, transition guy, defends with his feet, strength is his skating. So, all right, that's good. That's how the Oilers lean towards playing. Let's transition the puck. Let's regroup 40 times before we pass it up the ice. I mean, it seems like he's okay. He's played a little bit in the NHL. If you look at plus minus, his plus minus is not terrible on a bad team. But is that what the Oilers need on the back end, or do they need some beef? Some net clearing ability and some guys who can stop cycles. So maybe he's a younger version of Kulak.
Yep.
I mean, I guess we'll wait and see with this guy. There'll probably be another move for a defenseman between now and the deadline.
I'd imagine.
That's what I would think.
To me, you don't look at this 6-man decor and go like that's the same decor that's going to take us to the Cup final. Right. I don't think losing Kulak's a big piece, and I don't know if it was said with the sound muted or anything, but I was basically just saying Kulak, he. When called upon, has been a very solid top 4 defenseman for this team when needed. And they lose that guy for a young guy who doesn't have a whole lot of NHL experience. Right now it's a downgrade, but once again, like Reid was saying, I'd imagine another move happens where they're acquiring a defenseman to play a bottom pair, possible top 4 role as well.
I mean, Christian in the chat makes this point. Kulak was too expensive, lacked grit to be the third pairing. Now they need to trade Emberson. Once Jake comes back, the thing will be better. Well, yeah, whenever Wallman comes back, that's going to help.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's... I mean, we'll see with these defensemen. I mean, there's got to be another type of eventually, you'd think there's another trade coming for a defenseman. I mean, is Spencer Stastney going to jump in and play well this year? That's a really big if. I mean, I guess he'd be on the third pairing.
Yep.
Yeah, like Gord's saying, maybe he could play a little bit on the penalty kill. Yep. I mean, Kulak's a loss. I mean, he's a very solid player.
Yeah.
Like, he has a role. He plays that role very well most of the time. And usually you'd see very good things from him in the playoffs, right?
Yep.
So, yeah.
One thing I just want, so somebody was asking Stan Bowman going to speak today. Stan Bowman did speak via Zoom. I'm getting Trev. He's quickly going to try to get that for us, cut that up, and then we'll be able to throw that here on the Hangout. So he has spoken. We will hear from Stan Bowman at some point over the next hour. As Trev gets that, and he'll let me know when he's got that ready to go. So Stan Bowman did speak today, and we will get to you as soon as we can. And apologies for the power cable. Lots happening today, and we forgot the power cable of the laptop to plug that in. So we got that on, and as soon as the power cable of the laptop was going down, it shuts off the audio. But we're back. We're here. We're good. We've got everything going. So yeah, the Edmonton Oilers, they bring in Tristan Jarry today. They send out Stuart Skinner and Brett Kulak. Those are the big roster players, at least as of right now, for the Oilers and the Penguins. They do meet on Tuesday. It'll be the Oilers' third stop on an upcoming road trip. They're in Toronto tomorrow in the big Hockey Night in Canada showdown between these two teams, which is always a fun one. And now there's
Who
just
would
that
you
little
start
extra
net?
buzz.
There's another question I have for our audience. Who do you put?
There.
Mic test. We're back. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
That one, I don't know why.
Yeah.
The people there, I have no idea why that one went out. That one shouldn't have gone out. So hopefully everything's good for the rest of the show. What were you going to say, Benny?
Well, I was just gonna bring up what you were saying. Because I don't know if I caught it. Who do you start? I don't know if Reid's question got out there.
Yeah, who do you start tomorrow? That's what I want to know from people. Can we do another poll?
We can after. I didn't even see the
I'll do
results
it
of the
on
other
Twitter.
poll. Twitter's a good poll for that one.
I'll do it on my account.
And where would you guys go?
Well, I put Jarry in. Why not?
Yeah.
Then again, I just want the story as well.
Of course.
I mean,
But I also don't know why you wouldn't be able
Hockey
to go
Night in
in.
Canada, Oilers in Toronto, Tristan Jarry, the new goalie. I think it'd be pretty cool. To me, it doesn't fully matter. Like he's gonna play this weekend. It's a back-to-back, so your Pickett's gonna have to play one of them. So you pick your poison. I like the idea of throwing him in Hockey Night in Canada against the Leafs. Are pretty cool. And then I guess, well, doesn't fully matter, but you would give him more rest to come back to Pittsburgh and play Tuesday against his former team, which I think would be a pretty cool matchup as well. Probably, who knows, maybe against Stuart Skinner, but yeah, I probably start him Saturday against the Leafs. He'll probably beat the Oilers to Toronto.
Probably. Yeah, I think the Oilers are leaving right about now. So depending on when Pickett's going to go. Yeah. I mean, this is incredible. I mean, it's likely going to be Jarry against Skinner on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Like they just made the trade.
Yep.
You know, it's going to be all the storylines around this. When do the Penguins play on the weekend? Like, I wonder when Skinner makes his first. Maybe that'll be Skinner's first game. The Penguins host the Sharks tomorrow.
An afternoon game, 1
They
o'clock.
do not play Sunday.
They play Sunday at 1.
I bet you that's Skinner's first appearance. Oh, do they play Sunday
Yeah,
as well?
so they're home to the Sharks
they
tomorrow
play
at 1.
the
They're home
Mammoth.
to the Mammoth Sunday at 1. And then Oilers on Tuesday, 5:30. That's all our time.
So
I don't think he plays tomorrow. I think he plays Mammoth because of the Oilers.
Yeah, probably. And
No,
then
maybe they don't give him the Oilers game then. Who
yeah,
knows?
because who do they have? They have Arthur Shilovs right now,
Right.
and was Jarry was the other goalie they had? I thought they had another one though.
They did have a third goalie.
Yeah.
They did use
let me
3
look.
goalies this year.
Yeah, so that's interesting because I guess if they're still gonna rock 3 goalies, like who knows? Maybe Stu doesn't play at all over the weekend. Maybe his first game is against the Oilers Tuesday.
I would think, like,
I'd imagine they get him in, but
do they have all 3 on the roster right now?
I'm looking right now.
Like, I also, like, I feel like you do you not owe it, like, to the guy you just traded for to go up against his old team? Isn't that generally a thing? You let them go up against your own team because they, like, he just got traded. I'm sure there's going to be a little extra. Like,
Yeah.
It's the same with Jarry for the Penguins. You just want that little extra juice for your goalie going up the other way.
On the roster, it says it's just Skinner and Shilovs
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, and Skinner doesn't even have a picture.
Yep.
That's weird.
So, but here's another interesting thing. The Oilers are bringing in Jarry to be their number 1.
Yes.
Are the Penguins not bringing Skinner in to be their number 2?
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Shilovs has outplayed Skinner this year, so and I think they like what they have in him so far this year.
So maybe Skinner does get Saturday if they want him to go up against the Oilers on Tuesday, or if he gets Sunday, maybe they're not playing Skinner on Tuesday, and we don't get that Jarry Skinner matchup.
Right. But I would
which
think
be
Jarry
disappointing.
for sure will be playing. I mean, he's the Oilers' number 1 goaltender. You're going to get him that
very
they're
different.
playing. I mean, Skinner was playing over 2/3 of the games with Pickard there.
Yep.
If you look at the Oilers' schedule, what do we have here? The Oilers have Toronto, Montreal, Pittsburgh, Boston, Mini. So that's Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Vegas at home on the Sunday. So they got to go Mini to Edmonton. Calgary on the Tuesday. So there's 7 games left. I would think that Jarry's getting 5 of those. There'll be the splits on the weekends.
Yep.
Pickard's going to get Montreal and either Minnesota or Vegas.
Yeah, probably.
And Jarry's going to get the rest.
Yep.
And we're going to have a nice little
Good runaway.
sample size for everyone to talk about their Christmas dinners.
Yep.
About how Jarry is doing. Everyone's going to be able to talk about Tristan Jarry, and this is what he's
Having
doing with
some
the Edmonton
turkey
Oilers.
and,
Fully well with all that. There's no way to do that. So,
Well, initially, with only 59 people voting on Twitter, 98.3% would start Jarry against the Leafs.
it's not even close.
Wow.
Yeah.
No love. For,
I think you got to
no
put
love
him in.
for
I mean,
Pickard.
he's brought into play. It's not like they travel all the time.
Or maybe this is
You
them
know,
wanting to give Pickard the reins, the team.
Yeah.
Skinner's
Maybe.
gone, and Jarry's going to be the backup to Calvin Pickard because that's what the players want.
Okay.
Yep. So just about like long term, right? So obviously Jarry has this year and next year on his contract. Do you guys think at all there's a chance that Jarry isn't your starter next year? Like, to me, if things go poorly this year, are the Oilers trying to move him in the offseason, do you think?
If things go poorly this year and they're still looking for a goalie.
Yeah.
So they've got
Do they
this
not go-
year and then 2 more years of
Oh,
this.
so 2 more after
his contract is McDavid's contract.
Oh,
now. You've got
okay.
this
Right.
year and then the 2 years.
Okay, I thought it was one more after this.
No.
Well,
Okay.
no, I think they're saying, I mean, I guess anything could happen, Ben, but I think
Yeah.
they're saying this is our goalie.
This is the guy?
Yeah.
This is the guy we want to backstop McDavid. There's the question I asked the listeners at the beginning of the show. Do you think the Oilers are closer to a Stanley Cup just with Jarry as the goaltender ahead of Skinner, leaving the defense questions out of it for the time being? So, but clearly, Oilers management thinks they are.
Yep.
Like they clearly think they have a better chance of winning a Stanley Cup during McDavid's tenure with Jarry.
Yep.
Right? So, that's why they made the move. I mean, we'll see what happens. Again, like we were saying, like I was saying off the top of the show, Jarry's high end is higher than Skinner's.
Yes.
Can he achieve it? I mean, he's had some miserable times in his career. He was on waivers. The Oilers or any team could have had him for free. Nobody thought that was worth picking him up for the contract. And then the playoffs experience, if you factor that in, and like probably some people wouldn't factor that in, where they're going to say, well, yeah, Skinner has playoff experience, but he wasn't good enough. Skinner's played 50 playoff games. Jarry's played 8.
Some might throw the Jarry Memorial Cup run.
And everybody's got to start somewhere. I mean, every goaltender started with 0 playoff games. So, I mean, if the Oilers make the playoffs, which they should, is it going to be like, oh my God, Jarry's only, I mean, he'll have been the goalie for 2/3 of a year by the time we get there. So that's what's fascinating about this trade. And then the other things that are to come.
Well, and the fascinating though part to me also on this, because to where Benny's going though too, is look, everyone hopes this goes well. Everyone hopes things are fine. But what if it's a Trent Fredericks type situation when Jarry comes the rest of this year and it is poor?
Yeah.
What if this is worse than Stuart Skinner?
What if?
Though, if this is the guy that the Oilers are going with for the next, that they're believing in, what are those conversations like in the summer if things go poor with Tristan Jarry the rest of the season? That is an interesting. Do they try to make a change next summer? Now the Oilers are going to feel that this is the right move, but there's always the what if because we don't know for sure. That's the big thing that I just find a little fascinating to me.
Well, right.
Now, most people don't want it, but it's what would you like? I do feel like as a GM, you're always looking at all options. You always have to be prepared for all options. And you have to be looking at here going, okay, this is who we believe.
Well, I think if this trade doesn't work out and other moves, then I think you have to, I would hope then the 2 or 3 people in the organization higher than Stan Bowman have to ask if they want to go forward with him as the general manager.
Yep.
I mean, some of his moves are wait and sees, but what's the, correct me if I'm wrong, what's the only Stan Bowman move that could be considered a triple or a home run right now? Signing Roslovic, in my mind.
Over this past calendar year, or is
no,
time
since he's been there.
Pod Colson trade, do you think is? I mean, that's a big one.
That's a good move.
Yeah,
that's a good move. I mean, okay. Mangiapane, Frederick appears to be right now a very poor move. I guess it's got 8 years to straighten itself out. Yeah. So he signed Roslovic, who was a good goal scorer when he was healthy. Mm-hmm. So yeah, people are putting Podkolzin in it. That was, and then Arvidsson and Skinner. He wasn't here yet. That was Jeff Skinner. That was Jeff Jackson still making those moves. So I mean, you can pick all those things apart. But I mean, if this trade blows up in the Oilers' face, then do you really want Bowman as your GM anymore for the final 2 years of McDavid's contract? Mm-hmm. Obviously we always go back to Holloway and Broberg. Now it's not as if that's turned the Blues into a great team, but still those were players lost for the Oilers. So I think that's the answer. If Tristan Jarry doesn't play well, okay, on one level, yeah, that's on the player. Why didn't he play better? Why didn't he perform to his potential? But if Tristan Jarry doesn't play well, then it's also on, well, why did the GM think he was that much better than Skinner? Or that he was going to fit into the team that much better as a whole?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get the Stan Bowman presser up there, which I don't think that is accurate.
No, that doesn't look like it.
No. Oh, yeah, it is there. So I'll see if I could do this on the fly a little bit there.
Yeah, people are putting in, like, Wallman was a good pickup. Yeah, that's fair. Yep. Gord says Emberson a good trade when you factor in salaries. Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Yeah, Wallman's a good player when healthy. I think he's got to settle down, I think, a little bit because he was making some mistakes through this year. Yeah,
his pinches can be tough.
Fair enough. Yeah. But I also think Bowman has some things that really haven't worked out, or he took some risks that weren't great.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I've got Stan Bowman.
We'll be able to hear it?
He should be able to hear it.
It's moving on the screen. Right
that's because I was playing with something there. So hopefully this works well. So here's the general manager of the Edmonton Oilers, Stan Bowman, speaking on Zoom a little earlier today. It's about 10 minutes.
Tristan's had a really consistent performance as a pro, really up until last season. So certainly that was something we look into and wanted to see how he started this year. And, we've watched him very closely and we've been impressed with his performance over the course of his career. I think he's shown to be a very solid goaltender. A lot of the metrics that we track, he's been very good on those for many years in a large sample size. So, I just felt it was time for something different. I think it's not so much a comment on the Stuart Skinner. It's just really maybe time for something different here. And, but I think we wanted to make sure that the person we were bringing in, we felt confident, the fact that he's got 2 more years on his contract. So, we have our goalie for the next 3 playoff runs, which I think is important, knowing that he is signed and it's a number that we're going to be able to manage well in our salary cap over the coming couple seasons. So I think those factors did play a role. When you add it all up, it wasn't just about, a couple games here or there. It was about a career sample size and the fact that he's going to be with us for 3 playoff runs.
So a bit of a history of injuries and clearly doesn't have the same playoff experience that Stuart Skinner does. What have you seen from him that sort of gives you confidence that when that big moment you want to be in arises, that this is a goaltender that will know how to rise to that moment?
Yeah, I think that if sometimes your playoff success or your record is in line with the where your team is and their trajectory. Certainly the Oilers have been, in a good trajectory the last few seasons, probably a little different than where Pittsburgh has been. So that's part of it. And I think really looking at his body of work over a long number of years, like I think if you look at his performance over not just one season or a season and a half, it's that old adage, the sample size. When you look at a goalie and how he's performed over a few hundred or 1,000 shots, that's different than, a couple thousand shots tend to show you what that goalie can be. And you're right. It always comes down to, in the end, 1 or 2 moments for every goalie, not just for the Oilers goalies, but everyone's measured sort of by what they remember in a playoff series. But there's a lot of things that have to get your team to that point. And we think that Tristan has a very solid track record for being a good goaltender.
Next, Stan will go to Derek Van Diest of NHL.com. Go ahead, Derek.
Hey, Stan. Just want to ask you about, I know that Stuart was a free agent coming up. Was there negotiations on another contract, or were you guys always thinking of probably moving on and seeing what else was out there in the market?
No, we didn't have any negotiations yet with Stu. It was something we were going to assess as the year went on. And I think that's one of the things that was attractive about this deal was not only that Tristan is signed, but he's signed at in today's marketplace and the way the cap is, a very manageable cap number. You look at some of the recent goaltenders that signed over this past summer, and I think that Tristan's cap hit's very manageable.
Now, obviously, do you expect Tristan to join you guys on the road trip in Toronto here? Was that the plan?
Yeah, I did. I spoke to him shortly and indicated that we'd be getting him going, and his plan is to join us there in Toronto for the game tomorrow.
Thanks.
Thank you, Derek. Just a reminder to use the raised hand function for questions. We currently do not have any raised hands at this time.
Okay, sorry about that. Got me, Stan?
Yes, I do.
Brett Kulak, part of this deal, Stan. I just wonder, this is a player that's obviously elevated his game in the playoffs, been very good for you. Just a thought on moving on from Kulak as part of this and what you're bringing in to try and replace those minutes, because I know you've been working on the back end a lot.
Yeah. Brett Kulak he's been a great Oiler, and he was excellent in the playoffs last year. There's no doubt about that. with where he was in his contract, as far as the last year of his deal. And, we were able to acquire Spencer Stastney, who's 6 years younger, very similar style player. I think, the thing we've liked about Stastney is his excellent mobility. He's a great skater, a lot of quickness, and he's been very effective in the penalty kill, and he's got some offense to his game as well. And I think he's really hasn't reached his true potential yet. Like, he's 25 years old. So, we've been able to reshape our defense a bit here in the last year to, we've now got 3 guys that are 25 and Bush is 26. So we've got, 4 younger defensemen that are all in those prime years. And I think Spencer Stastney's not someone probably a lot of people are too familiar with, but I do think he plays a very similar style game to Kulak. And that was important for us as part of this deal. We certainly weren't trying to trade Brett Kulak. He's a great person and a great player on our team. We're going to miss him. But in order to make the transaction work and the money going back and forth, that had to be part of it. So we wanted to make sure that we addressed our defense in the same manner, whether it was a separate trade on the same day. And I'm very encouraged by what Spencer can bring to the table. And I think when you get a chance to watch him play, you'll see the similarities there in their games. And I think that's the reason that we're pretty encouraged. We've got some young defensemen now that, like something I spoke about early in the year, our players are going to improve. And we've seen that with some of our young guys already. They're going to continue to get better as we give them opportunities. And it's different than having, a vet back there. But I think, we obviously still have Nurse and Ekholm, Wallman and Bush. So we've got some younger guys we're working in. And I think once we give them the opportunity, they can show us that they can make a difference in our lineup.
You talked about part of the thought process with moving on from Stu, that it was time for something different. I know you've also maintained that you didn't want to necessarily just make a trade for the sake of making a trade and wanted to make sure it was going to be an upgrade. Did something change along the way here? Are you certain that Jarry will be an upgrade, or did that calculus change a little bit and the need for something different maybe change the shape of your thinking a bit?
No, I think that the biggest thing, like I said, if you look at Tristan's track record, he's a very strong performance for a number of years. I think it was really just last season was the only time when he had a stretch where it wasn't at the same level. So wanted to see how he started the season off. And I think he's been doing really well there in Pittsburgh. I think he's a big part of the reason their team is off to such a great start, probably surprising some people in the Eastern Conference to be as good as they've been. And so I think that was watching his performance. It solidified in our mind that he is the goalie that we had seen for many years. So I do see him being his performance over a number of years has been very good.
Thanks, everybody. We're going to go to Preston Hodgkinson at Daily Hive. Before we do, just going to try and wrap this up in the next 5 minutes here as we have a flight to Toronto to camp. So go ahead, Preston.
Hi, Stan. The team obviously moves on from Skinner today. I was just wondering if we should expect anything with Calvin Pickard or if he will remain with the team.
He will remain with the team. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Preston, one last one for Derek Van Diest of NHL.com. Go ahead, Derek.
Yes, Stan. Just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about Samuel Poulin. Obviously, he's a first-round pick coming in here. What kind of are the plans for him, or is this kind of a depth move for your forwards up front?
Well, he's going to go to Bakersfield to start, but you're right. He's got a lot of talent, and he's a big kid with skill. He's probably 6'2", over 220 pounds, and he's having a great season so far in the American League at a point a game. So he's been a highly regarded player for a while. Hasn't quite come together. He's played some games, but he's kind of at that age where guys hopefully can take that next step and become an NHL player. So we do like the overall combination of of the size and the skill and the ability to play both ways. Like, he's had an excellent start to the season in Wilkes-Barre, and we want to get him in our system here in Bakersfield and then make an assessment if he would be in the mix in Edmonton. But he's got a lot of different parts to his game that are attractive, and we're hopeful that will translate.
And there's Stan Bowman, general manager of the Edmonton Oilers, on a Zoom earlier today after the Oilers acquired Tristan Jarry, as well as, let me pull up the full details here quickly. Jarry and forward Samuel Poulin from the Penguins in exchange for Stuart Skinner, Brett Kulak in a second in 2029, and also acquiring defenseman Spencer Stastney from the Preds in exchange for third in 2027. Reid Wilkins, Benny Thomson, Matt Iwanyk with here on the Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada's storage experts, more than 2 decades, help Canadians through life transition, Canadian storage provider. Check them out, sentinel.ca, for the latest deals, as well as finding a convenient location nearest you. Before we get your thoughts on what Stan Bowman had to say, just a quick programming note here, and I know people want to have fun with this one, but like we can't go talk NFL
Here we go.
on a day like today for an hour when we've got this deal here in Edmonton. So we will have a special 2-hour oil stream starting 11 o'clock, including, I believe Dusty said 11:05 Noodles. Jamie McLennan will be on with the boys. It'll be Dusty and Trev for 2 hours, continuing the discussion of the Oilers news. Reid, Benny, Reid, start with your thoughts on what Stan Bowman had to say.
Sure. Well, he said that Jarry's been consistent until last season, and he did say this is the goalie that we want for 3 playoff runs.
Yeah.
Okay? So I guess you can look at that as saying, regardless of Skinner's performance, Jarry's under contract for longer. So if they were, I guess he's saying, rather than potentially looking for a goalie in the summer, we got a goalie now. I guess that's the approach there. You know, he said I wrote down, he said it's time for something different. And I thought, okay, cool. But different doesn't always mean better. So it was a good follow-up by Rishag, who said, okay, you said time for something different, but like, is Jarry actually an upgrade? And Bowman basically said that he believes Jarry's an upgrade without using the word upgrade. I mean, I think he was being careful not to, run down Stu or put down Skinner's performance or anything like that. But he basically said, we've been watching this goalie for a while, and we think he's going to be good. So, obviously they're making this. The Oilers are making this trade because they believe Jarry's a better goaltender. That's going to be the ongoing debate on shows like this and with fans and stuff, which is fine. We'll see how he plays. Preston from the Daily Hive asked if Pickard's going to remain with the team. Bowman said Pickard will remain with the team. Sure. For now, I mean,
you're not going to say we're getting rid of him.
He's not going to say the trade, but the trade's not going to be till February 10th. We're
actively looking to move him. Or something.
There could be another trade. He's not going to tip his hand there. So we'll
at this
we'll
very
see what
moment in
happens
time,
there.
he's an Edmonton.
He's on the team right now. I mean, that doesn't mean. If you would have asked Bowman 24 hours ago what's going on with the goaltending, he would have said Stuart Skinner is one of our goaltenders. Until he's not. And he gave a little more information on Stastney, excellent mobility, penalty killer, and similar to Kulak. So I guess they're getting younger and have a little more control over the player moving forward. I mean, if he has to jump in and play a lot, we'll see how he does right away. So I mean, look, we get the reasoning for the trade. I mean, they think Jarry's a better goaltender.
Yeah.
Do I believe that? I don't know. Probably the high end. Probably the high end. And again, maybe from another perspective, I mean, clearly this was not something that they decided to do overnight. Bowman's probably been looking for a goaltender for several months, if not from even the time he was hired. Who knows? We don't know what he thought of Skinner coming in. So they believe it's time for a change. And maybe they just thought, too, like they certainly are aware of the heat in the market. And maybe part of this too is just like, okay, it's not gonna click for Skinner here.
No,
I mean, I'm speculating here, but I mean, is that some thinking too, that they were just like, okay, no matter how well Stu plays, we don't think the high end is high enough, and then how does the dressing room feel about him? And then does he have to live in this city 12 months a year? And even how much he avoids stuff, he still knows he's always getting these glances in public and seeing all the stuff on social media. You're not the guy. You're not the guy. So, maybe that a little bit as well. I don't think they make deals solely based on that, but maybe you wonder, okay, this guy's under a lot of pressure. How is he going to handle that? Right. And that gets back to my whole puff out the chest thing. That is part of it. How are players going to deal with or avoid, criticism or bad nights or things like that? Now Jarry's going to have to face that. So
but they might be looking
do we know
at
how
too.
Jarry can handle that? I don't know.
They might be looking at that too. Is just that Skinner's had so much put on him over the last few years with the pressure that now, like, he just can't carry that pressure anymore. Like, it's just there's just been so much he's had to deal with. Jarry, at least he's coming in fresh. That it's okay. Well, he's got a lot of more runway of
it's a fresh slate.
The early pressure. Like, he's coming in probably with a huge sigh of relief that he's out of Pittsburgh. Maybe feels like a guy that was placed on waivers. Probably sitting there going, this organization doesn't really want me.
Yep.
There have been rumblings over the last number of weeks that the Penguins, and the Oilers were looking at it. This team is trying to get rid of me. A fresh start for him where maybe for that first little while, he doesn't feel that pressure because he's just feeling a sigh of relief. This is different. This is new. I'm not there anymore. I'm in an organization that wants me, that is committed to me for the rest of my contract. They're saying, awesome. And as they progress, the pressure will start building, but it's not as much baggage as Skinner has just acquired over the last 3 years. Benny, your thoughts on everything that he said?
Yeah, I mean, it's to what Stan was saying. The big thing, and Reid highlighted it too, is like this is the goalie that they want for the next 3 playoff runs, right? And I brought up the question earlier about if things go poorly this year, what happens? Does Tristan Jarry, do they look for a move? Do they go and try to replace the backup to try to have a 1A, 1B? I understand the thought process. I think with what Stan had there, like if you look at Jarry's numbers, in seasons he's played 30 games or more, and I'm going to include the season where he's only played 14. His numbers, save percentage wise, 921, 909, 919, 909, 903, 893, and then a 909 this year. Those are pretty damn good numbers. And when he said about his history, he had a rough year last year, but for the most part, he's got some pretty good numbers in there.
I'm just the one thing too is the last few years he's playing on a Pittsburgh Penguins team that aren't these Edmonton Oilers.
Yep, that too.
They may have Sidney Crosby, they may have Evgeny Malkin.
Yep,
but they weren't built for playoffs. Like this year, they are surprising everyone that they're sitting on a playoff spot at this moment. But that was an organization that for the last few years, not a playoff team. He's now coming to a team that is a playoff team.
Yeah.
And is expected to go make a run over these next for Stanley Cups.
Yep.
Which does help a goalie like that. If you're putting up some better numbers against a weaker team around you,
should be better with.
You would like to think that when you get better teams around you, your play will stay at least the same or could increase a bit.
Now we've talked a lot on pre and post how much the Oilers defense. It was not great to start this year, right? Like it really wasn't. And Brett Kulak was a part of. I believe in the month of November, like he wasn't on for an Oilers goal for. I don't think till late in November, which is crazy for him. And I believe he was minus. I think it was minus 13 or something in a stretch of games there. Like it was really rough for Brett Kulak, but. With this Oilers decor in front of Tristan Jarry, when they're playing at their level they should be playing, it's an upgrade over Pittsburgh's blue line, and it should help Tristan Jarry. Hi, Hernan.
Hernan Salas jumping in for a little bit here.
What's going on?
Not much. It's been a very quiet day.
The game last night by the Oilers.
Yeah,
we've one of their best games, eh?
We've just focused on
all good with Skinner.
Yeah. Oh, great. 958 save percentage.
He's back, I think.
Yeah. In Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you're going to want to lock him up if you're an organization that has his rights. Hernan, it's been we're now a little over 2 hours since this news happened. How are you taking this? What are you thinking about this as you've listened to everything, as you've thought about things? If you've maybe heard Stan Bowman there, where are you right now?
Yeah, I mean, isn't this what everybody wanted?
Many wanted Stuart Skinner gone.
Can't complain now. I mean, it's tough to see Kulak go. This is probably the worst he's looked in his time in Edmonton. But he's so good. Like, he's a steady Eddie. That's a tough one. Let's be honest. No one really knows the other guy coming from Nashville. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think I share the sentiment of most of you guys where I think it's a sideways move until you got to show us. Tristan Jarry's got to come in here and show us that he's an upgrade, that he can handle it. And Reid, I was driving in, and the playoff numbers are just staggering. Like 50-8
appearances. Yep.
Yeah. And listen, Bowman said it. Maybe it was just time for a change, and I agree with Dusty too. This is the next 3 years. Is it?
Yeah.
If this goes sideways, people will be out of jobs. Good players are going to leave, and that'd be end of the kind of this era.
Yeah.
Now, if he comes in and can he lead the Oilers? And Reid, what was your question? Does he lead?
Are the Oilers now closer to
a Stanley Cup with Tristan Jarry
over the next 3 years?
I don't think we can answer that right now because I don't know. Like, this is a guy that was on waivers last year, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Waivers.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but he's also been an all-star.
Yes.
He's also been a guy that has put up some really good numbers. That it's there. Like he has that higher ceiling.
Yeah.
Who's got the lower end to them though?
He's what, 4 years older than Skinner?
Yeah, he's
30 years old.
A lot more money. His tenure is going to end the same time McDavid's contract ends. I mean, it's exciting. I can't wait for tomorrow, especially if he's going to get to start.
Yeah.
It's always exciting when the team you cover makes a trade of this significant. And I think the timing is interesting.
It is. I don't think anyone went to bed last night thinking we're going to wake up tomorrow and the Oilers got to do something.
I want to bring this. Last night on the post-game show, we talked about, Cass and Tom and I talked about how the defense played well, and that is correlated with Stuart Skinner. And now it's like, oh, it's crazy. It's a crazy concept. When you play better defense, your goalie's usually better too. And then I think as Cass was signing off, Tom said, oh, yeah, see, the defense is playing better, and I can tell you right now, there's no trade happen for a goalie in the next little while, and then a trade happens the next morning. I almost said it on the postgame last night. The Jarry trades happen tomorrow, but it's pretty funny. We jinxed it last night.
I don't know if this happens to you guys, too. Yeah. Like, we're in this business. It's amazing days like this that we love our jobs even more because you get to cover it. Yeah. But, like, you wake up, and your phone's blowing up with friends and family and our EST chat, and right away you know something Oiler related, right? It's nothing else. It's you don't think about a family emergency. You're like, why is my cousin texting me at 7:45 in the morning? You know what I mean? It's right away. I looked at my phone. I'm like, everybody's Skinner gone. Yeah. It's just I think the timing is interesting.
Yeah,
I truly do. But they wanted to get ahead of it, ahead of the trade deadline. Now they can assess what they need at the deadline. And it's going to be Tristan Jarry, Calvin Pickard the rest of the way. Jarry, obviously, you're number one. And you guys said Skinner will be number 2 in Pitts?
Yeah, Arthur Sheeloff has been pretty good in Pittsburgh. He's been pretty good.
And Reid, you know this better than all of us because you're in that room. You've been in that room through all of Stuart Skinner's career. Listen, outside of what he's done on the ice and all that, a great human being.
Well, I mean, he was always they are always available to the media.
Yeah.
Stu was usually one of the more well-spoken and thoughtful guys. So, I mean, I guess that was good from our standpoint.
But I mean, for the amount of heat he took, like he always stood there and faced every question. Never gave attitude, was never pouting.
No. Yeah, I think there was one time he didn't come out after the game and then apologized the next day. So I just want to read this. Josh Yohe from The Athletic has a full article up. I just want to focus on a couple parts. He says, Jarry, who was sent to the AHL on 2 occasions last season, has enjoyed a strong start to this season. 9-3-1, 2.66 GAA, 909 save percentage. Is one of the better starts of his career, although Jarry has a history of strong starts, which have helped him land in 2 NHL All-Star games. The 30-year-old also has a tendency to fade down the stretch and has never won a playoff series. He gives the playoff stats 2-6. 3.00 goals against average, 891 save percentage. I did not know this. Apparently, he lives in Edmonton in the off season. I did not know Jarry lived here in the off season. That's what Yohi has reported. Now, obviously, he won the Memorial Cup here in 2014. I heard somebody this morning say you reunite Jarry and Brossoit. Brossoit was not on the Memorial Cup winning team.
He was not. They were a good tandem together. But would have Jarry been there with Brossoit when they went to the first?
I think he might have been backing him up in 12. I think he was the backup in 12.
But you have Curtis Lazar.
You have Curtis, yeah.
Bring back Griffin Reinhardt.
Griffin Reinhardt, here he comes.
Any other old Kings still in the league?
Let me look at the roster.
Henry Samuelson.
Bob Green's still part of the organization.
Yeah, Jarry played 14 games in 11-12 when they won the WHL. Yeah. And then he played 63. He was really good in 2014.
Where's Henrik Samuelson going? What's he up to?
He's there.
Doing? Like, let's just bring back those
any other
Kings.
NHLers in here? Dyson Mayo was an NHLer for a little bit. I don't know where he is.
Isn't Sotner?
Oh yeah, he played. Yeah.
I believe Trey Fix. No, he was way.
Trey Fix was after those guys. Yeah. I believe. Speaking of Jarry and Lazar, I believe they played summer hockey together when they were like 10 or 11.
Oh, really?
And then we're on the Oil Kings together, and now they're going to be. So it's like they were together when they were like 10, 11, 18, 19, and now it's 29, 30. So that's kind of. Side note, random trivia for everybody.
Yeah. I don't know, Matthew. What do you, is this an upgrade?
I feel like it will be. I do.
Okay.
I do feel like
I think
there is a better goalie there.
Yeah.
For the Oilers.
Okay.
Not overall a better goalie. Like, there are sometimes players just play well for certain organizations, certain teams. I think Stuart Skinner is still going to be a very productive National Hockey League goalie. I think this is a guy that probably not with the Pittsburgh Penguins because they got Shilovs, but this is a guy that could go be a starter still in the National Hockey League. I was speaking of the heights. Stuart Skinner, one thing that we don't have with Jarry, but with Skinner. Skinner was in the discussion for Canada's Four Nations. Yeah. As of last year, he was in one of the discussions of a goalie that could potentially go to the Four Nations for Canada. So he has his heights too. But I do think that Jarry, with more of a bad Pittsburgh team, has put in some really good numbers. Now is coming to a better Oilers team, a team that can go score goals. That maybe is a goalie that you're not asking for Jarry to be Bobrovsky or Shesterkin or Hellebuck. You're not asking him to go win you a 1-0 hockey game with a shutout.
You just want that big save in crucial moments. You're asking for
that. Stuart Skinner could give up 3 goals. Jarry could give up 3 goals. But it's when are you giving up those 3 goals? And are you giving up that next goal type thing? Like, that's what, and I feel like Jarry's going to be able to do that. I do. I do think that this will ultimately, I'm not going to say cup, because it's always difficult to go win a Stanley Cup. But I do think we're going to have fewer nights where we're looking at goaltending and be like, why couldn't there be that save there?
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I think the one that's going to hurt, and I think it's going to be one of those that you're not going to you don't realize it until that player's gone, is Brad Kulak.
Yeah,
I get he's a free agent at the end of the year, but he's steady Eddie. Like I said, it's probably his worst year as an Oiler. Yeah. Like he's had more downs than ups this year. But I look at the team now, and Regula's going to have to be a regular. Emberson for sure, and Emberson's played well. And then this new guy Stastney. But I think we're going to realize, we're all going to realize how important Kulak was to this team. I think they're going to miss him a lot because he's a guy that can jump into your top 4 when needed. He kills penalties. He's a steady Eddie. Yes, he's been struggling this year, but I think that one, the Oilers are going to feel.
I think he priced him, even though he's had a tough year, I think he's priced himself out of Edmonton. To me, the Oilers don't make this move if they didn't have their mindset on extending him. Because that had been talked about all season, and I alluded to this earlier. Elliott said that other teams around the NHL view Brett Kulak like as a very, very solid defenseman. Like we saw here.
He's great,
right?
He's exactly what you want in a 5, right?
Yep. Like he'll get you a good asset at the deadline for Pittsburgh.
I do feel though a little bit that they're viewing this as a diminishing asset.
Yeah, 100%.
That playoff Kulak won't be playoff Kulak as much anymore.
And you needed the money to make this trade work, right? So,
and ultimately, here's if the price we're saying is high today, or people are saying is high today for this. If they go win a Stanley Cup, they paid the right price,
sure.
right? If they believe that this is the goalie to win them a Stanley Cup, And it comes to fruition for this organization in the next 3 years.
Go ahead.
They made the right price. They paid the right
100%.
price. They brought the goalie in that they needed to.
And guys, Kevin Weeks had this weeks ago that the Oilers were poking around.
Yeah.
And a lot of people.
But other people had it. And I'm sorry, I'm going to be a little... You can't say you got it right if you got the details wrong. You can't sit there and say...
You can't call redemption if half your trade was wrong.
If you said there was retention in
Plain
this
and
deal
simple.
and there was no retention, what you got was the Oilers were discussing things.
Yeah.
There were conversations, but you didn't have that trade was done. The deal wasn't done until today, and it didn't involve retention. And it involved Brett Kulak and Stuart Skinner and a third in 29 for Pouliot and for Jarry. And then there was this side deal with the Preds as well.
Yeah.
Those are the details. You got it right if you get the details right.
Yeah.
That's why the insiders are the insiders.
Yeah.
They get the details right with those deals.
rarely-
Friedman nailed it today.
They rarely ever get it wrong.
And that's why it started. Friedman said these two players come and tempted, but then he didn't have the details.
Yeah.
Then when he had the details, they were right.
Yeah.
You don't get to do a victory lap
Yeah.
when you get things wrong in your trade deal. It's just that simple.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because
Matt.
I could have
well
said,
said.
I could have, whatever, this weekend, it was Oilers and Jarry. Like, even Friedman came out, they're talking about it. I could have just tweeted on Tuesday, Oilers are making a deal for Jarry.
Yeah.
And then today I get to say, I was right.
Yeah.
I'm just playing what Elliot said.
Yeah.
And they could have made this deal 3 weeks
Well,
from now.
everybody's an insider now, right? So it's upsetting to see that and to use certain things that are very serious in a lot of people's lives as a way to get out of it.
And then you apologize that you got it wrong, and now you're doing the victory lap saying you got it right.
Now you're going out and you're kind of gloating. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's,
I don't have time. And
That's
it's
horse bleep, man.
You don't
horse bleep.
That's not what the insiders do. They get like Speck today got a detail wrong. He said Skinner was not part of this deal. He deleted it and he said, I got this wrong.
Yeah.
Those are the things. He's not going to now gloat that I got the part of this other deal right.
So it's interesting to me. So Wallman's still out.
Yes.
So Kulak's traded. So, I wonder. Wallman is a pretty good player. He'd had some struggles earlier this season. Hopefully he can stay healthy. So I wonder how this does hurt the defense, I think, in the short term, not having Kulak. Mm-hmm. Riley Stillman was the call-up, which I didn't see coming last night. No, Riley Stillman is 27 years of age, and he has played... Oh, I'm on the wrong page. Hang on. Sorry, guys. He has played in the NHL. Not a lot. Mm-hmm. Not a lot recently. He's sort of been an up-and-down type of guy. I just want to make sure.
Is he a right shot defenseman? See if I pull him up.
I think he is.
Yeah, I remember.
No, Riley Stillman shoots left. He's 27. He's played 163 NHL games, but none this year and only 5 last year. So he's kind of become an AHL. He's bounced around Florida up and down for 3 seasons. Chicago, he played 13 games, 52 games. Vancouver and Buffalo in 22-23, he played 50 games. So it's maybe Stillman plays tomorrow as a stopgap.
Maybe.
As you wait for Wallman to come back and you work Stastney in. Maybe that's what they do there. Just speculating on that.
But can't Stastney make it to Toronto by tomorrow? Because Nashville played at home yesterday.
It might be a situation where you just have him as a backup.
Yeah,
maybe,
like a 7th.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just don't want to throw him right in.
Yep.
Right? So
it's possible. Yeah. That's interesting. We talked on post game last night about what, because Knobloch said in his post game, like, a defenseman will come, and the names we threw out were Josh Brown, Deneen, and Lepinen, and none of them came
So they've
up.
gone with an experienced guy who's probably better than Brown.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm curious to see how they deploy the defense tomorrow. We'll still see how Regula is developing. He's very up and down to me. I don't think he's looked as good against better competition.
I agree.
But I think they're going to keep on giving him a chance.
So, Reid, do you think...
Before you continue, just want to say the official trick of the EST Hangout is the Finnish long drink legend in 1952. Drink unlike any other sparkling refreshment. Real liquor, longdrink.com/Canada. Enter a post and find a liquor store establishment nearest you with the long drink in stock. It is absolutely delicious, and if you're looking for something to have this weekend, or if you're heading down to Rogers Place, a rivalry series tomorrow, US-Canada, they do have a deal with OEG where they're in Rogers Place. Sorry, Hernan.
No, I was going to say, Reid, Benny, Maddie, when Wallman does return, he's been playing the right side, right? With Nurse, they kind of like that pairing. Do they continue that, or do they roll those 3 guys on the left side and then Emerson Regula go there, and Stastney's kind of a jump-in guy when they want to put Wallman back up to the right. Does it matter?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So, Ekbush,
Nurse, Regula, Wallman, Emberson.
Emerson, but
then if you want to throw Stastney, you move Wallman up with Nurse.
And you take Regula?
I take Regula. You go Emberson, Stastney.
That's a very young. That's a very
young pair.
inexperienced.
And
Yeah,
I think they're very similar in the case of like they have very little NHL experience.
I guess is it better to have Wallman playing the left with Nurse and Ekholm and just make that strong side, and then you roll the dice with Regula and Emerson on the other side?
I think it depends on if Regula continues to progress. I think he's had a couple rough goes with his injuries and stuff, and then I think that's led him to his play a little bit. And Emberson is, I think, taking a little bit of a jump over the past couple games. But I think if they'll see if Regula is moving the puck well and does more of what we see in flashes where he moves his feet well and makes good offensive plays. I think that's definitely a possibility where they go, okay, we roll 3 pairs. And we have a solid defenseman, we think, on every single pair on your left side, right? That's probably the case, but I think if they think that high of Stastney as like a Kulak, I don't think they think of him as a Kulak replacement, but as a Kulak, as a lesser Kulak. If they think of him that way, I think there's definitely a good chance Wallman plays top 4.
Because it's interesting, because if you go with Wallman with on the left side, then you're risking it with 2 young guys on the right.
Exactly.
But if you go with Wallman with Nurse, then you're risking a very inexperienced bottom pair, right?
In the end, they probably need another defenseman.
I'm going to say something else here. I'm slightly deviating, but as people know, I do that. Because one thing I've heard this morning, a little bit, is like, well, Jarry's got a championship in his pocket because he won a WHL title.
And a Mem Cup.
Yes. Fair enough.
You
know what other goalie involved in this trade won a WHL title?
Stuart Skinner. Did he win the Memorial Cup?
He didn't win the Memorial Cup.
How did he do there?
Fair enough. I can't remember how they did
the
that
Memorial
yet.
Cup, though, is such a...
Yeah.
It's such a wild tournament where just one bad game and like it could just send... like the Oil Kings of 12...
It's a
really
grind,
good team,
man.
and it's so quick and one mistake and like they
first
deserve
game.
the better fate in 12 to a degree. So that but the WHL title is one thing and they both.
You know
got
who's
it.
happy with this trade? Our good buddy Guy Flaming.
Yeah,
Tristan Jarry's back.
Yeah,
Jars as they call him.
I remember in the summer he was on the Hangout and he was banging the Tristan Jarry drum.
Was.
Yeah.
I will need to get to Play Alberta's over-under, which is for Play Alberta. Download the app, visit them, playalberta.ca. EST specials are up there where we always populate with a bunch of things. I think 3 of our specials hit yesterday, including the lock shop parlay for the NHL that Huss built. Deposit 50, use EST Sports, and you'll get a $50 free bet. Tomorrow, Oilers minus 112 on the money line. Puck line minus 1.5. They're the favorite going into Toronto tomorrow for that game. Over under, if Jarry plays tomorrow, well, I guess Sunday too, when Jarry's first game for the Edmonton Oilers. Goals allowed, 2.5. Over under for Tristan Jarry's first game as an Edmonton Oiler. Over under 2.5 goals allowed.
Probably over. It's the Oilers, man. Come on.
It's either Toronto or Montreal. 2.5 the line. I'm setting that one.
It's the Oilers, bro.
Jump in the nasty chat if you want to.
That
2.5 goals.
That game Tuesday is going to be the most watched game in Oilers history.
If Skinner's playing.
If Skinner and Jarry match up on Tuesday.
Skinner shutout. Kulak scores the game winner. Wrap it up, man.
I can't wait for that thumbnail on Tuesday.
It's gonna look Benny. That's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
So
imagine we get Sheila's and Pickard.
I swear to God.
We'll see how this goes. We're expecting that Jarry will play tomorrow, but maybe they wait till Sunday when they take on the Montreal Canadiens. But 2.5 goals over under for Tristan Jarry's first start.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see if there's reminder. So here's what's happening with the EST. This was supposed to have been the EST Christmas draft featuring Benny and Reid and Dusty and Eric. That is going to be moved till Tuesday. Commissioner Quinn could come in on Tuesday. Hopefully you guys are good to go on Tuesday, and we're going to move that to Tuesday on the day of hopefully Skinner versus Jarry. Nice little juju going into that one. Have some fun going into a fun hockey game later that day. I guess Tommy will be in that day too, so we can do maybe the post show of the draft. So that's going to happen on Tuesday. We're going to do a 2-hour oil stream today now because of the move that happened for the Edmonton Oilers today. It will be Dusty and Trev for 2 hours as they'll get you set with the oil stream or not. Get you set. Look at more of this trade. Noodles will be on, and I think at 11:05. Did they say 10:05? No, I guess it can't be 10:05 because it's 11:05. He will be on. Also looking ahead to the Oilers' 2 games this weekend, which will be against Toronto and Montreal. GCLT's Oil Stream pre and post game shows, both for that one live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk throughout the weekend as well. After the 2-hour oil stream, we'll have EST afternoons with Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage. After that, for 3 hours, we'll have the Reid Wilkins show with Jay Milne. Full coverage today of the Edmonton Oilers deals. And just to remind you, as we'll wrap up the hangout here, the deals from today, if you're just tuning in, the Edmonton Oilers have acquired Tristan Jarry and Samuel Poulin from the Penguins in exchange for Stuart, Skinner, Brett Kulak, and a second-round draft pick in 2029. They also acquired defenseman Spencer Stastney from the Nashville Predators in exchange for a third-round selection in the 2027 draft. Thank you to everyone for tuning in to the Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Thank you for jumping in, Hernan. Thank you, Dusty, for jumping in. Thank you, Trev, for getting us Stan Bowman. Reid, Benny, thank you for coming in and doing this as opposed to the draft today. Really appreciate it as well. Thank you to all the listeners for tuning into the Hangout. As we said, we'll have a 2-hour oil stream coming up right away here, so stick around if you're on YouTube. Audio stream will take you right over. If you're on the audio stream, soon enough, you'll hear the oil stream going, and we'll continue this coverage right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, as I said, presented by Play Alberta. This is
the place
EST.
to be.
Thanks for tuning in once again to the Hangout here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, presented by Play Alberta. As I said, oil stream coming up in just a few minutes now. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go. There you go, right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Zola with here, joining us today.